I'm on the itchy lot. Alright, actually out getting somewhere. This is great. Here in Old Sacramento for the day. Before we get too far, I'd like to thank my sponsors on Patreon for actually helping pay for parking and other stuff for this trip. Not really that much went into it, and I'm going to get a lot out of it, I hope. So let's hopefully have a fun day. And there's going to be one of our stops later in the day, probably in a separate video even. So let's get to it. Alright. To be fair, I haven't been to Old Sacramento in, let's say, years. Mostly because, well, it's here, and why bother going here? It's just when I started doing videos here, I knew that I'd have to come down to the area eventually, check out all the old buildings, show them off, share it with everyone here, because this is a part of Sacramento and it's worth sharing and remembering our history a bit. So just gonna start off with walking around the area and we'll see what we see. I mean, a lot of these buildings, as you can easily tell, are, old style, probably with some enhancements in the back to keep them from falling down and stuff, but yeah, this is really what it what it was here. Just fun times. We didn't really have cars back when the city was first settled. Got a monument for the Pony Express because Sacramento was a major stop on the Pony Express route. So you can thank us for our modern U.S. postal system, which is, really cool. We got that little part of our heritage. I mean, that's why the trains are here, is because we're part of the train community. Way back then, major shipping routes still are too. I mean, I really do mean we still are. The Amtrak is right across the street. But let's just keep going and see what we see. I might have to run across there in a bit or whatever. No, we really should check out the candy store because that's a very popular place. It's like, you see, my friends came through here. They just passed through town one day and decided to stop off at Old Sacramento before we met up, and they didn't even have to mention anything, and I'm like, you went to the candy store, right? And they're like, oh man, how'd you remember? And I'm like, well, duh. A ye old round table pizza, very old-timey, but you can really argue and have all of this fun stuff around. And there used to be a really good collectible store around here, like even, that was years and years ago. Wish I could remember it, but whatever. That's the way it goes these days. Whew. Finally far enough away from the street, or the freeway now. Oh, we're by the construction. Fun. There's a very welcome and definitely not archaic sign. If you hear the music, that's what we call a crazy person. Oh, can't really get down there too well. Yeah, that's alright. I'm not really interested in checking out the boat that goes up and down the river. If it really does that too much, but mostly just floating restaurant and all of that. Really not much, but you know, a lot of the stuff, God, does not change. I'm surprised a lot of these places are still in business, to be perfectly honest. God. Plus this whole area smells like soap and sanitizer. Really cleaning up downtown, literally, I'm guessing. But, geez. Oh, wow. Sort of expected to see him, but I'm still surprised. But the fence over there is a restaurant that it's always known of. Ooh. That's a train over here. Tickets, prices, blah, 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 blah. Oh. Probably something goofy we could just go on if we really wanted to. Not really wanting to, but... Now, how do I want to cover the middle of this area? Let's figure it out. Anyway, not really much down there, or down the other side. Remember one time I was here, my dad was visiting and decided he wanted to drive through Old Sacramento, and that included going down these alleys during the middle of the night while there was lots of people out at the establishments on both sides. So we were sort of stuck in our car in the middle of all of the traffic trying to get through everything. Very fun. Thank you, Dad. That was not a annoying thing at all. So lots of fun stories like that. Like, well, with him. But those are for another day, and you know, probably get him to tell him if I can, but because you know, he's better at embellishing than I am. As always, a good place for school trips. Going the other direction from that last story, my mom has a story where I don't know where she said she was working. She said in downtown. She said it was like Old Sacramento area, I think, which is why I always think of this story when in association with here. But she was like part of a dig in the area, archaeological dig, which is really cool. Don't know where, and doubt I could find out exactly where on camera, but yeah, it's really cool. You know, if you want cool stories, always befriend archaeologists. They know all of the neat histories of areas. I figured that one out in university because met the archaeology professor there, and God, he was cool and had cool stories, even if you're not a full-time archaeologist. Well, just about came full circle. As you can see, not really that much, but there's still a lot of fun little interesting places around here if you're ever in the area. Yeah, I'd definitely say check it out and have fun. And then, you know, for now, this is what we're here to see. Try and go through one of the museums to have some fun with that, and we'll go from there. So thank you for watching, thank you for supporting, and see you next time.